So this is a very brief overlook of our inspiration notebook, and I'm just going to take this out because I want you to see the cover. It is a 3-inch binder and 3-ring sheet capacity, 600 sheet capacity. It has served us very well, and I just want to give you a brief tour of that. So the front page is just kind of a collage that we put together. Of course, Tiny Revolution at the top, and then designs, ideas, materials, budgets, sketches, etc. It's just things that, you know, just made for the cover. It really makes it personal. It makes it something that that we really hold fast and have held to during our entire build. So just want to open it up real quick, and I'm going to take a look, slide that back in. Of course, ours has some age on it, so, you know, it's starting to get just a little wonky. So we're just going to pan over there. So what I have here is a pocket in the front, and this pocket just has brochures that we've picked up along the way, say at one of the box stores or something like that. It's got a play yard and some tile work that goes behind the stove, and some outdoor shed type things for satellite office, a catalog, some gardening things, and then some miscellaneous things that I didn't know where to put at the time. This is actually very interesting. This is the receipt from the landfill in Georgia where we weighed the trailer. You can see that, let's see here. You can see right there the tare weight, 6,100 pounds. So that's what we weighed before we got to our land in North Carolina and installed the kitchen. So we are probably not over 7,000 pounds with our house. Although at 30 foot, some people say that we probably are close to 10 or 11,000. And then we've just got some. This is actually the last sketch that we did of our kitchen on some graph paper. We got the graph paper actually at Home Depot, I think, in their kitchen design department, just because it was there. And then here's some leftover kind of sketches that we had of what we want the total layout to look like when finished. And then some more pamphlets, that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to set those aside just so you can see what is what's in the front of here. And I'm going to move on to more of the meat of the notebook. You can see there's a folder at the front. This is a product that we got and added to the house. It's the ceiling fan, which at 23 inches I like to call the world's smallest ceiling fan. So this is just warranty information, the extra pull chains, that sort of stuff. You can see how just using a manila envelope, the holes have torn, so I probably should get a zipper pocket or something. Then we start with our dividers. Our first divider is for our manifesto itself, which is available on our website, but we found that printing out some of that material actually made for a really nice way to organize our notebook from the beginning. So we have kind of our steps of how things are going to work out, and then we move into an area which I probably should have a separate section for, but at the beginning I didn't actually have. So let's take a look at that real quick and talk about what it is. Now, for many of you, this section, these pieces of paper are not going to mean much. These are contracts that I have with sponsors. I don't think that it's any big surprise that that we had some sponsors come on board for Tiny Revolution, and these are just the contracts that lay out, you know, what was being provided and provided for what and that sort of thing. But now we get into the section I really like, which is the design, and this just shows you, this is why I say it's important to have your sheet protectors, as well as to keep all your sketches, because this goes from our first draft, September 2nd, 2010, all the way through our second draft, which was in October of 2010, to our third draft, which starts off 2011, to our fourth draft, which is in 2012, a whole year later. So this is just really fun, really interesting, and this is probably our last sketch. This is the one that I did when we were talking about the annex and how all of that was going to work, and draft 5 of the actual tiny house trailer. Moving into draft 6, which is April of 2012. Continuing on, these are a lot of pictures because this is what we thought the tiny house trailer was going to look like, and I'll just scoot that around so you can see it. We really thought that that was going to be the layout of the tiny house trailer, and even now, that is actually not the layout. We don't have a loft. We don't have a permanent wall. Our daughter has a bit bigger of a bedroom space, so things have definitely changed. And then we move into a section which, this is out of sorts, and I told you I wanted to give you a raw look at my notebook, because what you'll find is that as time goes on, you mislabel things, you put things in the wrong place, so even I am guilty of not going back and making sure it's totally organized. Plus some of the pages have fallen out of order because I take this to all the workshops that we participate in and that sort of thing. So these are just some, this is an inspiration page and needs to be back in the inspiration section. Our next section is the budget and receipts section, and you can see that laid out right there, budget receipts. And this is the zipper pocket that holds all of the receipts and shipping labels for everything that is included in this much of our tiny house trailer. Moving on to products we like. Now this is stuff that's not necessarily inspiration, but products that we found on the internet or in magazines that we liked and really considered purchasing for the tiny house. Some of you will see this Breville countertop convection oven. This is actually the oven we're still waiting to buy to go in our tiny house trailer. Then we've got our windows and some paneling and some paint colors. I mean, really, everything we get, we just put 3 holes in it, or if it was small stuff like this, like paint samples, we got one of these nice zipper pockets, that sort of thing. The next section is other tiny homes. This is kind of an inspiration, but it really is not anything but tiny house trailers. So it's just pages and pictures of some other builds that were interesting, some things, some specifications about those builds, that sort of thing. So I really enjoy going back and looking through this section. Then moving on, actually, we have the inspiration section, which this is not necessarily just inspired by tiny house trailers. Some of this stuff is like this outdoor kitchen. This has nothing to do with tiny house trailers, but it's something that inspired us. An indoor greenhouse space. So again, have fun with this. You know, put everything that inspires you. Put it in a clear plastic protector, and then put it in your notebook. I make notes on my pictures so you can see, so I can remind myself, what is it about this picture that I like? What do I not like? So that's pretty interesting. Paint colors, that sort of thing. It's quite a long section. In fact, it does everything until we get to the next section, which is actually manuals. Manuals that came with products that we're using. For instance, Gulf Coast Supply and Manufacturing. This is the detail manual to our standing seam roofing panels. And then we've got some other manuals. And then just empty protectors and empty dividers, you know, in case we want to add any more sections. And then, you know, because we have these pockets, oddly enough, we have weathered Galvalume and Galvalume samples of our metal roofing, because that's the 2 that we had narrowed it down to. So we also kept this with our inspiration notebook. So I think it's important to have your inspiration notebook. I think now that I look at it, I think I need to get busy and work on it some more. But I did want to show you a raw look at it so you could see that it's not perfect. It probably will never be perfect, and it will continue to go with us as we continue living in our tiny house and are inspired by other things. And it's just a great practice, and I look forward to hearing how your inspiration notebook really helps with your tiny house build.